Good morning, colleagues and friends and visitors to IMU. I'm glad to see quite a number of you at this opening ceremony. It's difficult on busy days to get people together, but those of you who are here, we thank you for your presence. Now, why have you thought about the title that is on in front of you? Rethinking medical education for the second machine age. Let's talk about second machine age. Now, the first machine age was when we moved from the agriculture revolution to the industrial revolution. At that time, 90% of people worked in the agricultural revolution. When the industrial revolution came, many of these people lost their jobs because you found with the use of technology, it was possible to produce food with fewer people and the use of technology. Today, only 2 to 3% of the population work in the agriculture industry. Now we believe a similar revolution is about to take place, and this will be addressed more when I give the talk later this morning, but it will also mean the same thing. In the US, it's estimated 1 out of 6 people will lose their job because of technology. Look at industries like motor car manufacture. Formerly, large numbers of people in cities like Chicago actually work in assembly lines. But today, most of their work is done more efficiently, more quickly by robotics. And very few car manufacturing is done with the use of human manpower. So, it is going to happen in every field. Take healthcare for example. Watson today can read what you said that you got to spend 100 hours per week just picking up with medical literature, the advances in medical literature. Watson can, the supercomputer that IBM have developed, can read those things in a matter of seconds. On top of that, it can go through electronic patient record of the patient you are managing within that same few seconds and come up with recommendations, say for the best protocol for cancer management. And there is evidence to show that the decisions made by the computer are better in most cases than human effort. So, there's going to be a big change. One of the predictions is 2/3 of people today, those who are in secondary school, will be working in jobs that do not exist today. That is how fast the world is changing. In the training of health professionals, it cannot be very different. So, look at the way we teach medical students. 300 years ago and today, has there been a big change in the way we teach medical students? Or students still come to lecture halls where they are given lectures by so-called experts, and most of what they hear they forget within 1 week, and by the end of a month they can't recall any of it. They only want to know what will come out in the exam, and they focus their efforts on this. So the question is, we need to rethink medical education. We need to make use of the new technologies to deliver the training and develop the competencies we expect our students to have in future, our professionals to have in future, and it will require much use of technology and redesigning our education systems to make that possible. I will go into this in more detail later this morning, but that is why we have this topic, and we think it is an important step that all universities must consider and rethink their education activities and pedagogies. Now, many people worked very hard to make this festival possible. First, we must thank the academics in IMU who have worked very hard in putting up posters, in putting up exhibitions, and they are going to show us the innovations they are using in education. The very interesting thing about e-learning or blended learning or technology-enhanced learning is that it's very often driven by champions, people who have great enthusiasm, and against the negative climate created by the rest of their colleagues, they make change happen. Change is difficult for all of us. If we are used to one system and that system brought us success, it's very difficult to give up that system. But the best time to give up something is when you are at the peak of your success. Don't wait until your institutions fail before you start thinking what you should do next. So the academics of IMU who are far-sighted, who are innovative, who have been active in technology-enhanced learning, we thank you for your participation. Our students are also a very exciting group of people. In fact, they drive us to make the changes, they demand the changes, and if we don't make the changes, then they ignore the learning activities we conduct and have their own means of learning. Members of the Learning Resources Department, that include the library, the e-learning department, and the medical museum, worked for months to put this together, and I thank them for their efforts, and their work doesn't end here. We are going away in a couple of weeks' time to an e-learning retreat where we are going to challenge them to think further, to push the boundaries of the envelope and see what can be done in moving e-learning further in IMU. Now we have exhibitors and partners from industry who have come here to help us make this festival a more meaningful one. Some of them have been here before in the last two festivals, and we thank them for their loyalty and for their contribution to the success of this event. So I hope you enjoy the festival. I hope you'll give us a lot of feedback. We don't want agreement, we want disagreement. We want controversy. We want to be challenged. Only then we can go forward. So thank you once again for your presence here.